This AWS Cloud Lab demonstrates a machine learning use case, text-to-speech. We can build text-to-speech solution using AWS serverless services like AWS Lambda, Amazon Poly, and Amazon S3. All these services have free tier credits for 12 months, so that you can learn without incurring any cost. Let's start with creating Amazon S3 bucket. We will store the generated MP3 file in this bucket. Once you log into AWS console, choose your AWS region on the top right. Navigate to Amazon S3 bucket's dashboard. Click on Create Bucket button. Once the Create Bucket page opens, provide the unique bucket name. This bucket name has to be globally unique name. Scroll down, leave all the settings as defaults, let object ownership with ACLs disabled, block all public access is selected as is. Scroll down, all the way to bottom of page, click on Create Bucket button. Once the bucket is created, you should see Successful Bucket Created message. Now let's create new AWS Lambda function. For that, go to Lambda dashboard, click on Create Function button on the top right. Once the Create Function page opens, provide the function name, select Python runtime. Leave other settings as default. Scroll down, expand the Additional Configurations section. Enable the function URL checkbox. Make sure you select None as the authentication type. This way we can invoke the Lambda function URL from Postman in local workstation. Scroll down, all the way to bottom of page, leave other settings as default, click on Create Function button. Once the Lambda function is created, you should see Successful Function Created message. Scroll down a bit, select Configuration and General Configuration section. By default, Lambda set 3 seconds timeout. We need to increase that for our use case. Click Edit link on the right side of this section. Increase the timeout from 3 seconds to, let's say, 15 seconds. Leave all other default settings as is and save. Now go to Configuration and Permissions section. We need to grant Poly permissions to AWS Lambda permissions role. So click on Role Name link available above Resource Summary title. This will open IAM role window. Click on Add Permissions drop-down button on the right side section. This will open Attach Policies option. Click on Attach Policies. In the Permissions window, search for word Poly. In the search results, select Amazon Poly Full Access, and click Add Permissions button. We also need to grant S3 bucket access, so that Lambda function will write the MP3 file. Search for S3 in the search window and select Amazon S3 Full Access. Click on Add Permissions button. Now you should see both Amazon Poly Full Access and Amazon S3 Full Access are attached to the Lambda role. Let's download the Lambda code we need for this lab. Go to github.com/Terragati. Navigate to AWS Lab Artifacts public repository. Navigate to Cloud Services, Lambda, and Python folder. You should see lambda-poly.py file. Copy the content of this file. This direct repository link is also provided in the description section of this video. Now go back to Lambda dashboard, paste the code copied from GitHub repository into Lambda code editor. Make sure you modify the S3 bucket name and the code to match the bucket you created just now. Make sure you click Deploy button. Let's download the Postman collection we need for this lab. Go to github.com/Terragati. Navigate to AWS Lab Artifacts public repository. Navigate to Postman and download the Cloud Labs Postman collection file. This direct repository link is also provided in the description section of this video. Now go back to Lambda dashboard, copy the function URL visible on the right side section. We will use this function URL to invoke from Postman collection. Go to Postman tool in your local workstation. You can also use Postman via browser itself, or use any REST testing tools like SOAP UI, etc. In the Postman tool, open Post API speak available under Lambda Poly folder. Paste the function URL and keep the word speak at the end. In the post body, change the data whatever you like to convert text to audio file. Invoke the Post API and you should see success message in the response. Now go to S3 bucket you recently created. You should see the MP3 file created. Select the MP3 file and you can click download button available in the options. You can play the downloaded MP3 file. You can go back to Lambda code and modify the voice ID and language code and try testing various poly options. To know valid poly options, refer documentation link is provided in the description section of this video.